There is in the choice of readings a plenitude of waiting and arrival. The expression that comes in the Eastern liturgy, the holy ancestors of God, has a mystic twang about it. We have much which has come down from non-scriptural tradition regarding these, but the names are constant: Joachim and Anna, and there is no smoke without fire, so we can take it that these were the parents of the Blessed Virgin. We can only induce that it must have been a very harmonious setting, given that she was the Immaculate Conception. She would have been the perfect child, and hence the other traditional element of feasting her presentation at the age of 3 is something which wouldn't be too surprising given the unique nature of her soul. Ancient paintings of that event show her going spontaneously and quickly up the steps of the temple, looking upwards and not back at her dear parents. It may be that they were of a certain age and had to wait for the child of promise quite a long time, in which case there would be a parallel with Elizabeth and Zechariah waiting for John, the immediate forerunner of the Lord. Again, a harmonious couple. If one looks around now, often there is a big chasm between grandparents and children. It's the duty of grandparents now to transmit the faith quite often, e.g. when playing, if they have access, with the children. It's a real vocation. What has happened in the period of this jump between the grandparents of today and the babies of today? It's only a short time. One of the professors of Maynooth some years ago was heard to comment the way in which the destruction and devastation within has happened in a short space of time is not reducible to merely human factors, discreetly implying by that it was satanic. And that too would not be surprising. Why is it that if one goes into the documents which have leaked out from Freemasonry at different stages of history, one always finds this leitmotif, that at all costs the Catholic Church must be destroyed? And with regard to the way in which they were always one step ahead, also would indicate that they were colluding with a force that was superior to man, that knew exactly how to do it effectively. And they had already, a long time ago, realized that the structure was so perfect that it could not be destroyed from without, and therefore it had to be from within. So what is going on is only the tip of the iceberg. Again, it's not surprising. It's actually, in a way, a good sign. If one is not attacked, one should ask why. If one looks at those who are silenced, usually indirectly, one sees again often something running through. It's precisely those who are a nuisance to those same dark forces. But it applies also to us. If we are trying to do the Lord's will and to be coherent, either as individuals or as a block, e.g. a family where grace is central, then there could well be satanic interference. One questions whether things like accidents, even repeated inexplicable illnesses, whatever it might be, are sometimes provoked. I noticed way back in the 80s in France how there was a huge renewal going on, but then I have discovered in recent times that there, again, out of the blue, something inexplicably huge destroyed a lot of the work being done. One of the best semi-monastic communities coming out of the renewal in France was eventually, very close in time now to us, rocked to its foundations, and one sees here a backlash, possibly from you-know-who. We know also that you-know-who is very interested in what goes on in places of formation of the faith. And therefore, if we see patterns emerging, then again, in a sense, in reverse, it's a good sign. It means that he knows where the true faith is. In fact, under exorcism, we know that he's been more or less obliged to admit it. It's come out on different occasions, e.g. during Reformation, when Protestants tried to imitate Catholic priests and were made fun of by the demon, because they were already inspired by him in what they were up to. This then is the serenity that we need to have. Apparently, the evil is allowed to triumph, but only apparently. Father Malachi Martin has one gem of a saying recorded referring to your man. He calls him a bit of angelic trash. Right now he's hugely agitated because he seems to know that he's got a limited amount of time and power. Remember that strange experience of Leo XIII, that he had to ask permission and he needed more time and more power. So he, by that very fact, is admitting that he's a creature and therefore that it's not forever. However, he's a nuisance, and people who are not aware of his existence and of the damage he can do are easy prey. Hence it is that we see these little children now bathed in an atmosphere which seems quite neutral, screens with lovely things upon them, screens nearly as big as the wall, but then you start seeing other things appearing which look like little cuddly demons with horns appearing, and also finding how the baddie is actually the goodie. Now that is a subtle form of inculcation of the reverse, even in the most tender of age. Again, Old Nick, one step ahead, and the grandparents are perhaps the ones to alert the parents. Where do we stand in all this? Well, rather as in the psalm, I will prepare a lamp for my anointed. We need to be a lamp, at least protect this lovely home from anything which might infiltrate it and in any way take away its peace. Let God reign. And how privileged you are to have fairly regularly Jesus coming and asking for hospitality amongst you with all his court of angels. Let there always be an extension of that and never a harsh word, remembering Jesus has claimed this home as he claimed the home of Nazareth.
Good afternoon. Yes, we have here the novitiate. Yes, they're all perfect Cistercians. Trappists perfectly obedient and silent. Yes, into contemplation, especially the rumination part, ruminatio. Nothing better to do than chew. Yes, and all well preserved because they're perfectly in this Fort Knox that no one actually enter because it's perfectly preserved from all attacks. There's a very important feature on this land. It's actually that no one can actually ever get into this house. It's completely protected by an almighty fortification. A gate through which no one can ever enter, because it's completely free from access. Irish, the logic of the Irish. You come to see a human being. Yes, yes, a real human being, eh? I wonder what they think. Thick human being. He doesn't know what life is about. But we do, don't we? Yes.